April 16, 1945. A POW camp outside Frankfurt, Germany. General George S. Patton walks between rows of captured German soldiers. The war is almost over. His boots crunch on gravel as he inspects the processing center. Routine work. 4. German soldiers stand in line. Americans checking them, taking weapons, writing names. Then something catches the light. Something metal. Around one German soldier's neck hangs not one dog tag, not 2, 4, but dozens strung together on a grotesque necklace. Patton stops walking. The camp goes quiet as he approaches the SS officer. 50 dog tags, 50 dead American soldiers, 4, and the German is wearing them like trophies. What Patton did next wasn't in his official reports, it wasn't in his memoirs, but the soldiers who witnessed it never forgot. 4. This is the story of the day Patton came face to face with evil wearing American names around its neck. If you value forgotten stories of World War II told without hype or nonsense, subscribe. 4. We tell the real stories that others miss. Captain James Mitchell ran the processing center. He was 32 from Ohio. For 3 months he'd been handling German prisoners, scared teenagers, old men who should never have fought. 4. And the hardcore SS who believed in Hitler to the end. But Mitchell had never seen anything like this. Patton called Mitchell over and pointed at the necklace. "Captain," Patton said quietly, too quietly. 4. "How long has this prisoner been here?" "About 10 minutes, sir. He just came in, and nobody noticed the necklace." Mitchell looked at his team. They were young. They'd been focused on paperwork, on weapons. 4. They hadn't looked at the prisoner's neck. "Sir, we didn't see it." Patton nodded slowly. "Get me Lieutenant Harper, and get me someone who speaks German." Mitchell moved fast. 2 minutes later, 4. He returned with Lieutenant William Harper, the camp's intelligence officer, and Private Anton Weber, a German-American translator. Harper saw the necklace. His face went white. "Jesus Christ," he whispered. Patton turned to Weber. 4. "Ask him his name." Weber spoke in German. The prisoner answered. "Is Klaus Richter, sir. SS Hauptsturmführer, Captain rank. Waffen SS, 12th Panzer Division. Ask him where he got the dog tags." Weber translated. 4. Richter answered, looking almost bored. "Sir, he says he collected them from battlefields, from dead American soldiers over the past year. France, Belgium, Germany." Patton's jaw tightened. "Ask him why," Weber asked. 4. Richter shrugged and answered casually. Weber's voice shook as he translated. "He says they're proof of his kills. He says each tag represents an American soldier he personally killed. The processing area had gone silent. 4. Every American soldier within earshot had stopped working. All eyes on Richter and his necklace. 50 tags, Patton said quietly. "He's claiming he personally killed 50 American soldiers." "Yes, sir." 4. "And he's wearing them as trophies." "Yes, sir." Patton looked at the necklace, at the names stamped into metal. Johnson, Williams, Anderson. American boys reduced to trinkets around a killer's neck. "Lieutenant Harper." 4. "I want every dog tag removed and cataloged. I want each name recorded and letters sent to the families." "Yes, sir." "Private Weber, tell Richter he's going to take off that necklace right now and hand it to me." Weber translated. 4. Richter smiled and said something in German. Weber hesitated. "What did he say?" Patton asked. "Sir, he said no. He said these are his. He earned them. He's keeping them." The silence deepened. Every American watched. 4. Patton took one step closer to Richter. They stood 3 feet apart. "Private Weber, translate exactly what I say, word for word." "Yes, sir." Patton spoke slowly. 4. His eyes locked on Richter's face. "You are a prisoner of war. You have no rights, no privileges, no property. Everything you're wearing belongs to the United States Army now, including that necklace." Weber translated. 4. Richter's smile faded. Patton continued. "Those dog tags don't belong to you. They belong to the families of the men you murdered, and they're going home, every single one." Weber translated. Richter's face hardened. 4. "You can take off the necklace yourself, or I will have my men. You have 5 seconds to decide." Weber translated. Richter stood there, defiant, not moving. Patton counted. 5, 4, 3, 2, 4. On 1, he nodded to Captain Mitchell, and 2 MPs moved forward. They grabbed Richter. He struggled, shouted in German, but he was outnumbered. 1 MP grabbed the necklace, yanked it hard. The chain broke. 4. 50 dog tags scattered across the concrete floor, metal hitting stone. Names everywhere. American soldiers scrambled to pick them up, carefully, gently, like they were handling pieces of the dead. Richter screamed in German, cursing, fighting against the MPs holding him. Patton watched the dog tags being collected. Each one picked up with respect, then he turned back to Richter. "Private Weber, translate this." "Yes, sir." Patton spoke, his voice carrying across the processing center. "You wore those tags like a trophy hunter wears the heads of animals. You treated American soldiers like game, like things to be hunted and displayed." Weber translated, Richter stopped. "You didn't understand. Each of those tags represents a human being, a man with a name, a family, a life. Not a trophy, not a number, a person." Patton paused, "And you will answer for every single one of them." Weber translated. For the first time, Richter's face showed uncertainty. Patton turned to Lieutenant Harper. "I want Richter separated from the other prisoners. Solitary confinement. No contact except interrogators." "Yes, sir. I want a complete investigation. I want to know if his story is true, if he actually killed these men, or if he just collected tags from corpses. I want witnesses. I want evidence." "Sir, that's going to take weeks, maybe months. I don't care how long it takes. Find out." Patton looked at the pile of dog tags now sitting on a table. 50 small pieces of metal. 50 lives. "I also want these tags treated with respect. These aren't evidence. These are remains. These are how families will know what happened to their sons." Harper nodded. "Understood, sir." Patton turned to the soldiers who'd been watching. He spoke loud enough for everyone to hear. "Gentlemen, what you just saw is why we're here, why we're fighting. That man treated American soldiers like hunting trophies. He wore their identities around his neck like jewelry." He pointed to the dog tags on the table. "Those are your brothers, your fellow soldiers. Each one left home to fight, to serve, to do their duty, and they died doing it." The men listened in silence. Some had tears in their eyes. Some died in combat, fair fight, soldier to soldier. That's war. That's expected. Patton's voice hardened. "But this is different. This is treating the dead like animals, like objects, and it will not stand." He paused. "We will find out what happened to each soldier whose name is on those tags. We will get answers for their families. We will give them closure, and we will make sure this man answers for what he did." The soldiers nodded. Several wiped their eyes. "Carry on," Patton said. The processing center slowly returned to work, but it was different now, quieter, more somber. Richter went to solitary confinement to await investigation. The 50 dog tags were carefully cataloged. Lieutenant Harper spent hours recording each name, each service number, each piece of information. Then the real work began. Army investigators interviewed Richter multiple times over weeks. His story stayed the same. He claimed to have personally killed all 50 soldiers in combat, but investigators dug deeper. They checked dates, locations, unit movements. What they found was worse than expected. Of the 50 dog tags, only 12 came from soldiers killed in direct combat. The other 38 came from different circumstances. 7 were from soldiers killed while surrendering. 11 were from wounded soldiers shot in field hospitals. 9 were from prisoners of war executed after capture. 11 couldn't be determined. Richter wasn't collecting battlefield souvenirs. He was collecting evidence of war crimes. The investigation report went to war crimes prosecutors. Klaus Richter was charged with 52 counts of war crimes, the 50 murders represented by the dog tags, plus 2 more discovered during investigation. His trial took place in 1946. The dog tags were evidence displayed in the courtroom, each representing a victim. Families were notified. Letters explained what had been found. Some families got closure after months of not knowing what happened to their sons. Others got pain, learning their son had been murdered, not killed in combat. Richter was found guilty on 47 counts. 3 couldn't be proven beyond doubt. He was sentenced to death. The execution happened in 1947, 2 years after Patton found the necklace. Richter's last words were in German, unrepentant, still claiming he'd done his duty. 50 dog tags, 50 American lives, But they were more than numbers. Private Michael Johnson, Boston, Massachusetts, 22 years old, engineering student before the war, shot while surrendering near Bastogne. 4. Sergeant Thomas Williams, 31 years old, father of 3, executed as a POW in January 1945. Corporal David Murphy, Chicago, Illinois, 19 years old, only son of Sarah and Robert Murphy. 4. Killed in a field hospital near the Rhine. For 14 months, the Murphys didn't know what happened to their son, just missing in action. Then they received David's dog tag and a letter explaining how it was found. 4. Sarah Murphy later said, "When we got this back, we finally knew he was gone. At least we knew. We could grieve properly. We could say goodbye." She held the dog tag in her hand during the interview. 4. The letter said General Patton personally made sure the tags came home, that he stood up for our boys even after they died. That means something. 4. What most people don't know is that Patton visited the families of 7 of those soldiers personally. No press, no photographers. He knocked on doors alone. Mary Henderson, sister of Private James Henderson, remembered. 4. This big car pulled up. A general got out, Patton himself. He handed us Jimmy's dog tag and told us exactly what happened. He stayed for coffee, asked about Jimmy's life before the war. He wanted to know the man behind the name. 4. Patton died in December 1945, before Richter's trial ended. But his last order about the case was clear: make sure every family gets their son's tag back. They deserve to hold something of their boy again. 4. If these forgotten moments of World War II matter to you, subscribe. We tell a new story every week. This is Obscured Waldrew Chronicles. Until next time.